All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. This is Deshaun Bradley, the Fighting Carrier. Welcome to this week's or today's episode. I'm going to talk a lot about, well, not really a lot about, because today's been a very long day. As I predicted it was going to be, I'm just going to talk about some nonsense, have a little bit of fun today because, man, did I work 12 today, and it was just a nightmare today. Oh my goodness, what a day today. But again, welcome. This is Deshaun Bradley. I am the Fighting Carrier. Hope everyone had a good day off yesterday. To spend time with your family. Yesterday was Memorial Day, and of course, that's a day to really reflect on what's valuable to you. It just reminds you of how precious life is. You're here today, going tomorrow. How short life really is. So you really want to take advantage of all the time, opportunity you have to be with family, be with friends, and to enjoy that, to reflect on what others have lost and whatnot. So, just a good day just to sit back and just relax a little bit and think about these things, to reflect on matters. Now, as you see the title of this week's stream, it says which candidate responded. I'm going to talk about that. We have a couple of candidates that's running for NALC president, Mike Cariff and Mr. Henry, there for the CLC and CLC in general. They're going to talk about which candidates actually responded. I sent the question out a day after Renfro gave his little announcement, his little update, and there's a couple of things in there that he mentioned there, talked about fair wages and the COLAs there. So I asked a simple question to the CLC and Mike Cariff. What is your definition of fair wages? Because when you hear that expression, fair wages, there is nothing tangible about it. You don't hear a number. You don't hear nothing. You just hear fair. Well, what's fair? Now, what's fair to you definitely won't be fair to me, perhaps, and vice versa. So, what is fair? What is fair? So, I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into the candidate who did respond to it, and also I'm going to get into my definition of fair. But before I dig deep into this, let me tell you about our day today. My day today, at least. I know everybody was probably busy today, no doubt. And what's interesting? Today I had 3,000 DPS. That's the first time I ever had 3,000 ever on my mounted route. And you want to know what's interesting about the DPS today? Even in our loose tub mail that we got today, you want to know what's interesting happened in my DPS in that tub mail? We got in our tub mail on our DPS today, we got mail that we threw in our Ubom about a week or two ago. It came back for some reason. Now, does the plant ever get in trouble for anything? I'm just curious about that. Have any of you ever heard of a plant worker, a clerk, or someone ever getting in trouble for the things that they do? I find that interesting that it's always the carriers. It always seems like the carriers. We're always the ones to get in trouble or something. We're always held accountable for some reason. But anyway, we got Ubon mail back that I actually threw some of that away again today. But some was in my DPS again. Some was in the tub flats, the loose flats. So that was interesting today. And then on top of that 3,000 DPS, I had a ton of DPS errors. Okay, you get to delivering, a good section of it, and then you get to another part, and then behind the next section is the previous section that you already delivered. I mean, it was big chunks today. On my 1571, I brought back, 269 letters, and I brought back about 4 flats that were put out of order or just got missed for one reason or the other. But yeah, my 1571 is packed. So yeah, I'll be casing up 268 letters plus whatever else I have tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to having probably about 300 letters to case back, to recase. But fortunately, most of it was in order. And like I said, it was DPS errors. And that brings it back to the plant. Like, there's oftentimes, for some reason, since I've been in this new office and here in my hometown, there's been nothing but plant errors, like week after week. And I'm just wondering, is any of these people ever held to an account? And, who knows? I don't know if they are or not. Perhaps. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, that was my day, and I ended up working from 7:30 until 8 p.m. today. So a nice long day. And what's actually interesting is my supervisor told me that the acting impu last week told us that no care is gonna work 10 hours today. I was like, yeah, okay. You know how it is when you get new impus, new postmasters, new supervisors. They always want to get in here and try to reinvent the wheel. They try to, they want to do their own little thing and stuff, not realizing that, hey, this is the real world. This is the route. It is what it is. And I had about an hour and a half taken off my route today too, so that was helpful. If I didn't have that, of course, I would have been past 12 hours, but we're not doing that anymore. So there goes that. With that, excuse me. I need to give me a sneeze button, like some of these other shows have. A sneeze button. Well, I apologize for that. A little bit dusty. So, but no, I just want to tell you about my day, and I know you guys had a busy day too. I'm not the only one. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going to happen this week. I'm going to re-listen to Renfro's update. I'm going to take notes and I'm going to break it down. If I can, I'm going to try to play some of it as well, because it's recorded on another stream that I have. On my last stream, I recorded that entire meeting that he had. So if I can figure out a way to play that, I will. And we'll just break it down point by point, some of the key points that I want to discuss with that. But then I'm working on another project, working on a project to honor someone here from NALC who is, I don't know, he was a good guy. He was a good guy, very popular, beloved by many. But I don't know how many of us newer carriers really know anything more about him than what we've heard from others. So I'm going to do an analysis of that and bring honor to this particular person here. And in that same vein, discuss some of the things that he did based on the available information that I have available. So that's some of the things I'm going to be doing this week. So basically I got 2, maybe 3 more days to stream. I know Thursday, of course I don't stream on Thursdays. That's my religious night. So looking forward to streaming tomorrow and again on Friday. And quite possibly again Saturday too. Just depends on certain things that take place that day. So with that, let's get into this. Now, which candidate responded to my inquiry on Friday or Saturday? I think it was Saturday. I inquired about the CLC as well as Mike Cariff. And let me see here. Let me pull up my image here. See if I screenshotted the whole message that I sent to both of them. Let me get in here. Library. Go to my library. Screenshots right there. Okay, of course I didn't do the screenshot. But basically, I asked a question to both the CLC and to Mike. I asked the CLC first because on their page they wrote down carriers are still waiting for full quotas and fair wages. So underneath their comment section, as well as the message I sent to them as well, I asked them, well, can you define for us fair wages, What are fair wages? What are you looking for? And I mentioned that you are sounding a lot like Renfro, that talking point of fair wages. You're not speaking anything tangible. You're not talking percentages. You're not talking about specifically what you will fight for. And what I don't like all this vague language. I want something tentative. I want something specific, some kind of end goal. So, how do you, COC, define fair wages? I asked the same thing to Mr. Mike Cariff. I asked him the same thing. How do you define fair wages? What do you mean when you talk about how do you define the full COLA there? What does that mean? And I gave it a day or so to wait for a response. And you know which candidate actually responded within the next day? It was not the CLC. And I've noticed that with the CLC throughout the years, even last year when they first announced, I've noticed that quite a bit with the CLC, that these people in the CLC, they have a hard time responding. They do not respond back at all. They get on here and talk about, we're brotherhood, we're all this and that, post brothers and sisters. And yet, when you send an inquiry to them, you ask a question of them, and you're met with crickets. Even if the main candidates are too busy, put the PR person on, someone that can respond, or someone that will answer, or something. But no, you don't even have that on there. Even the general message there. So you guys make it really difficult for me to really trust the CLC, which I don't trust anyway. I really don't. For reasons, I really don't trust anybody, to be honest with you. But looking at the CLC, and you're like a response to carrier inquiries. It makes me wonder. It makes me question. Well, if you can't answer simple inquiries now, what are you going to do if you're in office when it comes to the bigger things? Are you going to be like Renfro? Are you going to block the commenting on the social media page? Are you going to be responsive? So you don't have to answer every inquiry. I'm not expecting you to do that. However, at least right now, there's no reason for a non-response. And even after Renfro gave his response, I asked the CLC, "What's your response to that? To what Renfro said on Friday?" I gave a response Friday night, right after Renfro left, after his update. Well, I got right back on here, and I spent another 10, 20 minutes talking about what I just heard with Renfro. I get a response. I'm not even running yet. That's going to change, though. I'm going to be running, I think, the next cycle. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'll probably do that tomorrow on tomorrow's show. Why I think I want to run. Regardless if CLC or if Mike wins, I'm still going to run next cycle. And either tell you tomorrow or Friday. Once I hash everything out, I wouldn't know. Or Saturday, probably tell you Saturday. That'd be a Saturday show because I already got some other things coming up I want to take care. I want to do. But yeah, CLC, where's your response at? I didn't hear a response to Renfro. Like, what happened? Where's it at? And I follow you on Facebook, so I would see it come up. But I haven't seen anything yet. I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen a written statement about anything. So, I don't know. I have very little trust of the CLC. What I see of CLC, I see a lot of seasoned carriers who are still seeking higher positions of office, older ones. Do you guys have any young blood in the CLC? Any former TEs who just started in the late 2000s who lost the money and became a CCA? who lost to $6 now became a CCA and still stuck around? Do you have some young blood in there, or do you have people there that's been there since the '90s? They've been in stewards. They are already step Bs and others. They're already presidents of the union or other positions. You know, can you make room for the young folks with fresher ideas, new ideas? And that's my biggest beef right now with all of this, is that you have people here who's already been in positions of power, whether they're executive council, whether they have been presidents. You know, you've already been in positions of power, and like that. I mean, what more do you want? You make room for the young folks? I mean, we got a couple 100,000 carriers, and yet only a few can ever move up within the union. And I know a lot of that is butt kissing, which I'm not gonna do that. That's not me. That's not who I am. I don't butt kiss. That's not what I do. Just like with postal management, then I go talk to me and I'm not gonna do the same thing with the NALC. I'm not gonna kiss butt. We'll do what I gotta do as a man. But anyway, I digress from that. Now, the candidate that did respond to me, good old Mike Cara. I have to admit, with Mike Cara, if I send that brother an email, a message on Facebook, a comment, a question, within the next day or two, Mike Cara will respond. He actually engages with the carriers, with the people. And I admire that of Mike Cara. He actually reaches out. He responds back to you. And when he responds to you, it's at least in my experience. I can't speak for other people, but my experience, if I ask a genuine question, he doesn't come back in a way that's negative. He doesn't come back and shatter you. He doesn't come back and crush you or whatever. He is very genuine in his responses to you. He legitimately. Try that again. He legitimately. Woo, that is horrible. Man, I must be tired from working today. But he's legit. I think he's a good dude. Just based on my interactions with him over the years, the past couple of years, and how he is quick to respond to you. He seems down to earth, and I know he does say he's always say he comes down for about a week or so to carry his route. That's cool. That's cool and all. But yeah, I think of the two candidates running for president at least, and the CLC as a whole, I don't know if the CLC is just too big. Is it really organized or disorganized? I mean, I don't know. Is it just too big right now with too many people there in it? Their response is very lacking. I don't feel any type of emotional response with the CLC. Pardon me. It's like I'm fighting a cold. But with Mike, I see a person that's genuine, at least down to earth, someone that I can talk to, and he will respond back, big time. So that's what I like about Mike. Now, with that said, when it comes to the election and whatnot, I still believe that Mike and Henry are going to split the vote. Now, I do believe that Renfro is going to win. For some reason, I feel that 50% of the vote was going to go to Renfro because he's well known. His name is already out there. And then the rest of the 50 votes are going to be split between Henry and Mike Cara. So that's still my feelings with regards to that. But now let's get into Mike Cara's response. He said fair wages will be comparable pay to UPS drivers and not less than clerks at any step. I will give him up for that. I do like that response, at least for the fair wages. He says to be comparable pay to UPS drivers. That's a good answer. I do like that. I'm gonna take it a step further in a minute, but that's a very good answer to be comparable with UPS drivers because I don't hear. I've heard Renfro talk about UPS drivers, their wages, but he downplayed it. He basically said the post office don't have any money. You're not going to get UPS wages. Why? But why not? We deliver to every door like we did today, 3,000 pieces of DPS, every single door. We go up and down steps. We're in all types of weather, freezing rain, snow, sleet. We're in all of that. They may carry heavier packages than we do, but we do way more. I'm sorry, we do way more. I mean, we drive from house to house. I mean, today just delivering my mail. I would deliver mail to one house, and then 2 houses later, stopping for a package. Deliver another house, getting out, stopping. Deliver some more mail to the box, stopping, hopping out, do some more. So, whereas UPS, they can drive for a house, get a package out, and then drive two or three more houses, and they're not stopping at every single house like we do. And of course, we don't stop every day. Every day we don't have coverage, but you get the gist. We do deliver way more than UPS, so there's no reason why we shouldn't be comparable on TPS drivers. And I know Renfro downplayed that, but I've never heard Henry or CLC define what fair wages are. I mean, if I missed it, let me know. Send me a link if I did miss it somewhere. But I have yet to see it. And like I said, I don't know everything, and I could miss something. But if there's a link out there that tells us what the CLC is going to fight for, what fair wages are, that's fine. But that's a very good answer. Not to be comparable to UPS drivers, and we should be comparable. If they make 105, I don't know the number, but I'm just throwing that out, 105. And then we really should be at 105, but that's not going to happen at the post office. But if they're at 105, then we should be at 102, something like that, at the top pay. That is something that we have to deal with, and then we should all really be. Table 2 should be scrapped anyway. It should really be Table 1, but we know Renfro and them, they didn't do it that way. So we know Table 1 is going to disappear, and we're all on Table 2. And most of you guys, most of the old heads are at the highest step. I'm 4 steps away from the top pay. It sucks that, throughout the years I've earned, about on average $13K less per year than Table 1 people, and that's shameful. No union president should have ever agreed to that, ever. He did not learn anything from Terrence Powderly and the Knights of Labor, nor did he learn anything from Vincent Ball. This is why Rolando and Renfro, both, I can't stand either of them. And I bet not ever see them in person. Not that I'm going to do anything violent, but I'm going to tell them off. But these guys are trash, both of them. Rolando and Renfro. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. But I also like how Mike Kerr mentioned that in not less than clerks at any step. And that's amazing how the clerks who sit inside the office all day occasionally come outside to get the outgoing mail from the boxes around the post office. You move carts and stuff around outside and stuff. That's fine. But it's amazing how these guys earn more at the beginning steps than carriers. That's unacceptable. Throughout the years, the letter carriers have always earned more than these guys at any step. And this is unacceptable. That Renfro have a new carriers earning less than clerks. That's outrageous and not acceptable. And anyone who still supports Renfro, you got to have your head examined. I know some of you do support Renfro just because some of you feel as if, well, it took me X amount of years to reach the top step. So why should these new guys reach the top step very quickly? And that's just not the way you should be in the union. You really should be seeking what's best for the new guys. Work towards them building up, and helping them to do that. But I do like that. So that was a pretty good answer with the fair wages comparable to UPS. I mean, that's actually tangible. That's something he's written down, and you can compare that their rates, UPS salaries, and to what the post office is. So that's tangible. I like that. Everyone else is vague. Renfro is vague. CLC haven't responded at all. They just crickets. I don't understand. But they say the Lions are coming. I say nah. Those are the Cubs. The Cubs are coming. The Kittens are coming because there is just no response. There was no, at least in my experience, there's just nothing there. So, but now let me tell you what my definition of fair wages are. There's a news article here. It's an older article, so I'm pretty sure this information may have changed over the years, or the last couple of years. But let me go ahead and pop this up for you guys. Let me pop this article up. News articles. All right. So I don't know if you can see this or not. But my definition of fair wages, this is an article here from Finance Buzz. It is dated, don't remember, 2023, I believe. Yeah. Most recently available from 2023. So, this would be my definition of fair wages. It says salaries versus cost of living. The most and least inflation-proof jobs in America. And it comes down here. See here. The worst jobs relative to inflation. This is what I want to key in on. The worst jobs relative to inflation. So while some service industry jobs saw remarkable wage growth, others struggle to keep pace with inflation. Postal workers experienced the lowest wage increases of any profession, with salaries increasing just 18% from 2013 to 2023, significantly below the national inflation rate of 31%, and a lower rate than any other job. That right there. You see the numbers here. Of course, like I said, this has changed quite a bit based on the information, but the difference from national inflation, minus 13%. To me, a fair wage for me would be our wages, our salaries outpace inflation. So if inflation is 31%, then our pay should be 35, 36%. And our raises should always be above the inflation rate. And I'm not talking about by a percentage point. No. We should be 5-6 percentage points above the national inflation rate. So again, these numbers may have changed, but for me, my definition of fair wages is one that outpaces inflation and keeps ahead of it. So again, if inflation is at 31%, our pay rate should be 35%, 36%. It should be well above the inflation rate, and that's the kind of answer I'm looking for as well. But again, Mike was the one. I close this down now. Mike was the one who gave a response, and I truly appreciate that he took the time out of his day to respond. Not Mr. Henry, not the CLC. So this kind of tells me all a lot about the character of these individuals who are running. This tells me a lot. So I said, you do it what you want. We got CLC and Mike running. Vote for whoever you want to, but anyone but Renfro. But that's all I got tonight. And it's kind of late again. I just wanted to get on here very quickly and just talk about that situation with Mike as well as CLC. Again, CLC, they are very, very slow or just unresponsive in general. But Mike, reach out to Mike. He will talk to you. He will respond. And I like that about Mike. So again, he gave the answer, a good answer about fair wages. So to Mike, fair wages will be UPS comparability, which we should be there. There's no reason why we can't do that. And one thing too that UPS or USPS may say we can't do that. That's too much money. You know what? Doesn't matter. It's not up to NALC to figure out where the money's going to come from. It's up to USPS. USPS are the ones who need to figure out how to pay us. We demand what we want. They got to figure it out. And if they got to get rid of some supervisor positions that they constantly have job fairs for, so be it. There's no reason why you got to MPOO and the postmaster. The postmaster can do the MPOO's job, and the supervisor can do the postmaster job. There's no reason for all this onion layers of management. It makes no sense. And a lot of these guys sit at a computer desk, make decisions. They had no idea what's happening in a particular city, the office. They just see a computer report, and they say, "Oh, the carriers suck. Oh, the clerks suck. Oh, they're going to overtime. What are they doing down there? DOA says this, but then how come the carrier is always over? Because DOA is garbage. The algorithm is garbage. It's like with the 3,000 DPS today, we had 179 packages. It had 179 on my route. Well above my base parcels and Spurs. And my return time was only 30 minutes more. Like, the math ain't mathing. It's not. It's not mathing at all. So that needs to be changed. The algorithm needs to be changed. And there's so much work the post office really needs to do. Okay, and that's all I got tonight. This is Deshaun Bradley, the fighting carrier. Be signing off here real quick. Like I said, it's 9:30 almost here. Trying to hop into the shower and eat some leftover barbecue that I made yesterday that my wife is warming up right now. Smells good here. Grab me a nice water to drink real quick and spend the rest of my time with my family. But again, this is Deshaun Bradley, the fighting carrier. Always fighting for my Postal Blue brothers and sisters here. Look forward to some more episodes dropping this week. We will catch y'all on the next one. All right.